Greetings, Americans and Yankee wannabes across the world. This is your president speaking. The Office of Strategic Services has informed me that many of you don't know if scout planes are any good in Hearts of Iron 4. I'm here to tell you that these things are so based. They feel like a cheat code, especially if you want to pawn noobs in multiplayer. Before we take a sneak peek, so to speak, you might be wondering why your commander-in-chief is ripping a fat doobie. Well, if you think the New Deal got us through the Great Depression, you clearly haven't tried my Four Freedoms Liberty Kush. But anyways, subscribe to this channel to get a green card, and let's get on with it before I take another puff and win another presidential term. Now, why are scout planes better than a 4-stack of Egg McMuffins after a brutal hangover? That's because they provide you with intelligence, a resource that your wearaboo opponents are undoubtedly lacking. Having knowledge is invaluable on the battlefield. When you play with knowledge, you can figure out your enemy's game plan, then find and exploit its weaknesses. This is more important than any tank, ship, or plane design that's blindly copied from the YouTube recommended section. Scout planes are pretty fly on their own, but can also be comboed with a spy agency to provide you with increasingly reliable intel on a dictator's dirty deeds. The best thing about scouts is that you can use them during peacetime. That's right, if you want to order a paparazzi shoot of Ava Braun pegging the Führer, you can send scouts over the Berghof as soon as you build them. And producing them is both easy and cheap. Let's take the UK as an example. The only dedicated research scouts require is Photo Recon, a 1936 tech that takes 92 days. Still, Paradox nerfed the range on most airframes with the Arms Against Tyranny expansion, so researching range improvements is a must not only for your scouts, but most other airplanes too. As soon as you have the tech, you build scouts on the basic medium airframe, which is available to all the majors apart from France and Japan. This is a design that can carry you until 39 and possibly beyond. It costs less than a good 1940 light fighter, and you don't need to build a lot of these planes to do effective recon. With a basic medium airframe and extra fuel tanks, you have enough range to get intel on the Third Reich, Italy from Malta, and even Japan, as you can send scouts to Taiwan from Hong Kong. To produce enough scouts, start with 3 to 4 military factories and reduce the number to 1 when you gain enough industrial efficiency. Now let's see what you can do with scout planes. When you send them to a country you want to spy on, scouts give you up to 25% on civilian intel, up to 20% on Army and Air intel, and up to 30% on naval intel. You'll also see a percentage that goes above the cap. That won't increase your intel, but it will prevent you from losing it fast if you stop doing recon in a given area. Let's check what information we'll get on Germany without creating a spy agency. We'll put 100 planes over the Reich. Keep in mind that you can send fewer and still reach these intelligence levels, although you'll have to wait a bit more, just like your grandma waits for that sweet Social Security check. We started at 25%, now we're at 50%, which allows us to see the exact number of dockyards and civilian plus military factories they have. What good is this information? Well, you can effectively monitor Germany's military buildup from 1936. For example, if you notice that they are building primarily civilian factories up until 1938 or later, this means that their military buildup will likely peak into 1941 or later. Therefore, it might make sense for you to put up more of a fight in France or in the Balkans. Alternatively, if you see an early focus on dockyards or mills, it might be an indication that little Addie is feeling adventurous with possible goals of doing an early Barbarossa or Operation Sea Lion. Instead of doing nothing and risking getting caught with your pants down, you can now react accordingly and nip him in the bud. The worst part for the Axis is that they won't be able to do anything about you being a peeping Tom, as they cannot shoot your planes down until you're at war. Sure, they can spy on you as well, but they are at a disadvantage because they are the early aggressor. Additionally, you can see how the Germans are distributing their military production, so you know for certain whether they're focusing on tanks, planes, or infantry and arty equipment. In a nutshell, you can see their strengths and, more importantly, their weaknesses. Then devise ways to exploit these weaknesses to crack that nutshell like I cracked Alf Landon in 36. But that's not all. At these intelligence levels, you can also check the completed national focuses of the nation you're spying on. While you won't see the current one, you can still get an idea of what they're going for. For example, if the Jerrys are beelining towards synthetic refineries, then a strong air force and mass motorization are likely on their agenda. Moreover, the regions in which these refineries are built also become visible, giving you a good idea of where to aim if you go for strategic bombers. At 30%, their choice of air and land doctrine paths becomes available and the locations of their airports are revealed. You can also see the approximate number of planes at each airport. More importantly, at certain times, you'll also get a glimpse of where and how many divisions they've stationed in the area you spy on, which allows you to search for weaknesses that you can exploit with paratroopers to potentially throw a wrench at their airfields and supply hubs when they begin the attack on France and the Low Countries. With the Arms Against Tyranny expansion, you can specialize your airborne troops to do damage to troop organization or to buildings and infrastructure, making them even more of a pain in the ass for sloppy Axis players. Now, sending scouts over an area won't entirely remove the fog of war, as divisions will appear and disappear in an area to simulate planes going to and returning from missions. Still, if you catch it at the right time, you can see exactly how many garrisons are stationed to protect important areas. Another thing you could do is keep tabs on the stockpiled trains and trucks, then logistically bomb weakly defended areas like Benelux to worsen the supply situation on all Axis fronts. All of this information is available to you without investing anything into a spy agency. That's not to say you shouldn't build one eventually to get even juicier information and benefit from decryption and missions. What scouts provide is a way to get vital information on the enemy without the need to divert civilian factories early on. If FDR wisdom is not good enough for you, here are 2 quotes from the Level 10 Field Marshal of the ancient world, Sun Tzu. Be where your enemy is not. And the clever fighter is one who not only wins, but excels in winning with ease. If you follow his advice, you can not only order the most delicious lunch special at the Panda Express, but also suss out, outmaneuver, and outsmart your enemy by always staying a move ahead. So, are scout planes an amazing addition to your armed forces? The answer is a resounding yes, especially when you're in multiplayer. They are hard to counter and require a minuscule investment, but the information and bonuses they provide can make the difference between victory and defeat. If you want to watch another hilarious video with yours truly, check this out. Come on, click it.